What up YouTube? We right back at it with another banger. In this content provided will be about the comeback kid the legend B.G. So like and subscribe to 318 Louisiana Legend YouTube channel for the best content. Born Christopher Dorsey in the infamous Uptown section of New Orleans, Baby Gangsta acquired his moniker because of his reputation for doing dirt at a very early age. According to the 17-year-old rap artist, his troubles are largely due to the loss of his father and his environment, one of the poorest, most dangerous urban areas in the nation. Being from the ghetto, you get caught up sometimes, explains BG. I was out there acting up and doing stuff that I had no business doing, like going to jail for ditching school and breaking curfew. BG's love and appreciation for rap music eventually led him to writing and reciting rhymes. In junior high school, I would be in the hallway giving little mini concerts, or just writing rhymes whenever and wherever, offers BG. I just knew I had it in me to make it in the rap game. So did Ronald, Slim, Williams and his brother Brian, Baby, Williams, the owners of Cash Money Records who signed BG at the tender age of 11 years old. In no time, BG went from being an unknown local rapper with a reputation for rowdiness to being one of the region's most prolific rhymers. His debut LP, the eerie semi-autobiographical True Story, created a major stir in his hometown, easily outselling big-name acts 2-1 regionally. The album established the young lyricist as the heir apparent to hardcore reality-based rappers. BG, born Christopher Dorsey on September 3, 1980 in New Orleans, Louisiana, is an American rapper. Short for Baby Gangsta, or B. Gizzle, the rapper is often referred to as simply BG. Christopher Doogie Dorsey was a normal kid growing up in the 13th ward of New Orleans, which is uptown. In elementary school, young Dorsey rapped as a hobby. When Dorsey was 12, his father was murdered in a robbery, and young Dorsey drifted into street life. Dorsey began selling marijuana, cocaine, and eventually heroin, to which he later became addicted. This time, local independent rap label Cash Money Records was looking for new talent, and Dorsey was recommended to the label by his barber, who also happened to cut the hair of the Cash Money CEO brothers Brian, Baby, Williams and Ronald, Slim, Williams. After an impromptu audition, Dorsey was signed to the budding label. His first effort was True Story album as a part of the BG group, whom he formed with another preteen rapper, Baby D, who will later become Lil Wayne. Originally his moniker was Doogie, or Gangsta D, but since True Story was considered his solo CD, pseudonym BG stuck to him. The second youngest artist signed to Cash Money Records, Dorsey, given the stage name BG. Baby Gangsta released his debut LP, True Story, in 1992 at the young age of 12. Lil Wayne signed at 11, as the only Cash Money artist to survive several roster purges. BG was instrumental in helping carry Cash Money to regional fame. Multi-millionaire label head Brian Williams, who also became an artist for the label under the name Baby, allowed BG to catapult to success. His 1996 release Chopper City is considered a Southern classic and sold 147,000 copies independently. He was only 15 years old when he recorded the album. The next year, he released the albums It's All On You, Volume 1 and It's All On You, Volume 2. When Cash Money signed a $30 million deal with Universal in 1997, BG went to work on his seminal Chopper City in the Ghetto LP. The album spawned the massive hit, Bling Bling, which, along with Juvenile's Back That Thing Up, made Cash Money a nationwide success. Bling Bling also became a popular hip-hop slang term for any sort of expensive jewelry, automobiles, or other forms of opulence, which were featured heavily in Cash Money videos and on Cash Money album covers, as well as in BG's life. He began wearing multiple Rolex watches and large necklaces while flashing his solid gold teeth in celebration of his success and extreme wealth. BG remained with Cash Money for the rest of the 1990s, and was a member of the Hot Boys with Juvenile, Lil Wayne, and Turk. He left the label in early 2001 after disputes with Brian, Baby, Williams over personal issues. BG recently claimed that Williams used his heroin addiction to control him and cheat him out of royalties, for which he is now suing, and later signed an independent deal for his Chopper City Records label with Coke Records. In 2001, he attended a drug treatment program in Minnesota for his heroin addiction. In 2003, the Hot Boys came off a 4-year hiatus and released Let 'Em Burn. Later in 2003, BG left Cash Money again, this time on bad terms with his boss Baby and longtime friend Lil Wayne. He went on to release his first offering on the Coke label entitled Living Legend, which was sold as a 2-disc set. In 2004, he released Life After Cash Money. In 2005, he released The Heart of Districts Volume 1. He also helped record Y'all Heard of Me with C Murder. BG currently lives in Detroit, Michigan, running his Chopper City Records label as the CEO. He's a veteran in the hip-hop industry at only the age of 25, and he says he's not going to stop rapping anytime soon. He recently released his latest LP, The Heart of Districts Volume 2, and his new single, Move Around, featuring Mannie Fresh. It marks the first time BG has worked with Mannie Fresh since they were label mates at Cash Money Records years ago, and may well mean a boost to BG's career commercially. BG is one of 4 Superstar members who left Cash Money after 2003 along with Juvenile, Mannie Fresh, and Turk. Although they have all gone their separate ways, all 4 remain good friends and still keep in touch. There are rumors of a Hot Boys reunion in the future, minus Lil Wayne and Baby. Juvenile's top song, What's Happenin', has a Mannie Fresh remix which includes Juvenile, BG, and Mannie. This may be the closest to a Hot Boys reunion. BG has recently inked a deal with Atlantic Records, and T.I. has been appointed executive producer of BG's new album, which is scheduled for a fall release. After spending time there on and off, BG permanently relocated to Detroit in 2005 as a result of Hurricane Katrina. In 2006, Trina released a mixtape diss in which she humiliated BG along with Gilly Da Kid and Southern rapping rival Kaya. The mixtape was recorded in response to a statement made by BG where he claimed Trina had a sexual relationship with both Baby and Lil Wayne, whom are both rappers. Trina is currently involved with Lil Wayne. Trina referred to BG as a Cash Money reject and a street nga beefin' with a chick. BG responded, along with VL Mike, with a mixtape track, Just a Warning, till my album drop, set to the beat of DJ Drama's Canon remix, which Lil Wayne collaborated on. In the early 2000s, an animated MTV spot cheekily illustrated the strange life of Bling Bling. First we see some anonymous rappers on stage, chanting the infamous, irreplaceable phrase, then we see the term wind its way through pro locker rooms and TV interviews and high school hallways until, finally, it shows up at the tea time table of a white suburban woman and her matronly mother. Pointing at her new earrings, the woman chirps, Bling Bling. Indeed, we long ago murdered Bling Bling. But since its death, our fondness for its source material, the 1999 radio hit of the same name, has only grown. Officially credited to BG, but widely associated with the entire illustrious Cash Money crew, it both defines an era, and represents its possible high-water mark. On both the track and the indelible video, we got a massive, preposterous, joyous chunk of stunting, a level of stunting we may never see again. Thanks to his manifold latter-day successes, Bling Bling can at times feel like a footnote in Lil Wayne's career. But the truth is, Bling Bling, and what was, for a time, its all-pervading presence, is elemental to a proper understanding of Wayne. Which is to say, a once-in-a-generation megastar whose very words shape our cultures and our lives. BG, born Christopher Dorsey, was pulled over for a routine traffic stop, and arrested, along with 2 others, after police found 3 handguns, several loaded magazines, extended clips and drugs in the rapper's Chevy Tahoe. 2 of the 3 firearms were stolen. BG and Jared Fedison, 28, were charged with illegally carrying a firearm, while the minor, Demount Pollard, 17, received additional charges for possession of the drugs hydrocodone, oxycodone and alprazolam. The arrest of yet another rapper for illegal gun possession comes just days after Cash Money artist Lil Wayne pleaded guilty to a weapons charge in New York City. BG appeared in court for the charge just 2 days after the arrest and remains in custody without bond. His next scheduled court appearance is Dec. 20. The rapper was arrested in New Orleans last March and in Texas this past summer, but both charges were dropped. He was then arrested for drug possession in New Orleans in June, for which he is scheduled to appear in court next week. Former Cash Money Records rapper and one-time Lil Wayne bandmate BG, born Christopher Dorsey, 31, was sentenced to 14 years in prison on Wednesday after pleading guilty to 2 counts of being a felon in Article It Equals 1,626,023, possession of a firearm, Article, and 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. Dorsey had pleaded guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm after police stopped him in 2009 in eastern New Orleans. He was arrested along with 2 associates, Demount Pollard, 20 and Jared Fedison, 30. Police found 3 guns, as well as loaded magazines, in the car, 2 of which had been reported stolen, and later determined that the car had been stolen from an Alamo rental car parking lot. Pollard confessed to ownership of the guns, but police later determined that he'd done so at Dorsey's request. When the state criminal case moved to federal court, Pollard and Fedison pleaded guilty, which opened up an avenue to charge Dorsey. The Cash Money rapper had confessed to the gun possession and obstruction charges, but refused to cooperate with police. Pollard took a plea deal and was sentenced to 30 months in prison, and Fedison, whose rap sheet was longer, received a 20-year bid. During the trial, prosecutors introduced videos linking Dorsey to 2 of New Orleans' most high-profile alleged murderers, imprisoned alleged drug kingpin Telly Hankton and Walter Porter, men whom the rapper had name-checked in online clips. Prosecutors were asking for a 25-year prison term for Dorsey in the case, pointing to the videos as proof of the MC's wide-ranging criminal activity. The lawyer for the Bling Bling rapper, whose songs chronicled the gritty street life of hustlers and the high life of flashy MCs, said his client's appearance in the controversial videos was merely posturing and marketing, saying that while many people would frown upon his art, it is art. The judge in the case indeed frowned on the videos, but would not allow them to be employed to secure the longer sentence. Dorsey racked up 3 felony drug convictions from 1998 to 2003. He was ordered to also serve 3 years of supervised release at the end of his prison term. BG. Released after well over a decade in prison, Birdman flies to his side. BG is a free man. The platinum-selling artist was released from prison on Tuesday, September 5. Cash Money Records co-founder Birdman was among the first people to greet BG home. Birdman streamed their reunion on Instagram Live. BG was signed to Cash Money for many years, helping the label become a powerhouse in the music industry. Checkmate, his last solo album for Cash Money, dropped in 2000. He released several projects after leaving the label, the most recent of which was 2009's Too Hood to Be Hollywood. The New Orleans native's criminal history and a 2009 arrest derailed his career for more than a decade. BG was sentenced to 14 years in prison for gun possession and witness tampering in 2012. BG got out of prison a few days after celebrating his birthday. He vowed to move forward with his life in an Instagram post about his final birthday behind bars. This year I'm celebrating the whole Virgo cycle, matter of fact, from this year forward I'm living and celebrating like every day is #mybirthday, BG wrote. The main focus is to stay focused. I'm not letting nobody rob me of my productivity, prosperity, positivity and peace of mind. My dreams then got bigger and my vision is clearer. He added, 13 years was more than enough time for me to change the reckless path I was on. This is the rapper B.G. co-defendant, the one who allegedly ratted on Gizzle. Judge sentences New Orleans man to 20 years in prison on gun obstruction charges. A 29-year-old New Orleans man was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison Wednesday for obstructing justice and possessing a firearm. Jared Fedison, a convicted felon with a lengthy rap sheet, previously pleaded guilty in January in federal court. The charges stem from a New Orleans traffic stop in November 2009. Fedison, Demount Pollard, and local rapper Christopher Dorsey, who goes by the moniker B.G., were in the stolen car, along with 3 guns, authorities said. Police arrested the trio. Shortly after, Pollard, who was the only one in the car without a criminal record, claimed the guns were his. A federal investigation by alcohol, tobacco, firearms and explosives agents found that Dorsey and Fedison agreed to spring Pollard out of jail by taking care of his bond if he falsely took ownership of the guns. Pollard eventually gave in to their demands. Federal agents monitored Fedison's phone calls from Orleans Parish Jail. At one point, Fedison called his girlfriend and told her it was imperative that Pollard admit to having the guns, according to court documents. Fedison also expressed surprise that the police found the guns in the vehicles. A federal investigation by alcohol, tobacco, firearms and explosives agents found that Dorsey and Fedison agreed to spring Pollard out of jail by taking care of his bond if he falsely took ownership of the guns. Pollard eventually gave in to their demands. Federal agents monitored Fedison's phone calls from Orleans Parish Jail. At one point, Fedison called his girlfriend and told her it was imperative that Pollard admit to having the guns, according to court documents. Fedison also expressed surprise that the police found the guns in the vehicle's stash spot. Facing federal charges, Pollard, 20, pleaded guilty to misprision of a felony in May. He was later sentenced to 30 months in prison. Feddesen faced far larger penalties because of his criminal record. On Wednesday, U.S. District Court Judge Ginger Berrigan sentenced Feddesen to 20 years for obstruction, as well as being a felon in possession of a firearm. Dorsey, his co-defendant, has pleaded not guilty and is slated to go to trial on December 12. Dorsey grew up in Uptown and was signed with Cash Money Records at the age of 13. He was a member of the Hot Boys, a late 1990s group that boasted a roster of big-name rappers including Lil Wayne, Juvenile and Young Turk. Pollard and Jared Feddesen were indicted on charges of conspiracy to obstruct justice. Feddesen was additionally charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. These charges stemmed from a New Orleans Police Department (NOPD) traffic stop on a stolen vehicle. Pollard, Feddesen, and Christopher Dorsey were in the vehicle which, when searched, revealed 3 semi-automatic handguns. Shortly after the arrest, Pollard, who did not have a prior felony conviction, told the police that the guns were his and that neither Feddesen nor Dorsey had any knowledge of the firearms. During a follow-up investigation by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives (ATF), agents learned that the guns actually were possessed by all 3 individuals. Agents also learned that Dorsey and Feddesen conspired to have Pollard sign a false affidavit stating that the guns were his. Pollard signed the affidavit in an effort to protect Feddesen and Dorsey from being prosecuted for being felons in possession of a firearm, a more serious offense. Both Feddesen and Dorsey have several prior felony convictions and neither is legally allowed to possess a firearm. Feddesen has previously pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm and conspiracy to obstruct justice. Feddesen faces a maximum sentence of 10 years imprisonment for felon in possession of a firearm and a maximum sentence of 20 years for obstructee of justice. Feddesen is scheduled to be sentenced on September 14, 2011. Dorsey, who has 3 prior felony drug convictions from 1998 through 2003, is charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm and 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. His trial is scheduled for October 3, 2011. After getting out of federal prison for snitching, Jared Feddesen, 38, is accused of shooting at a vehicle with 3 men inside in the 2100 block of Colombo Drive in Harvey on the evening of April 29, said Captain Jason Rivard, a spokesman for the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. A 29-year-old man suffered a gunshot wound to his back. The other 2 men, ages 19 and 22, were not injured, Rivard said. Feddesen was arrested May 7 and booked with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, aggravated criminal damage to property and simple battery. The sheriff's office didn't reveal a motive for the shooting. Feddesen is no stranger to law enforcement. In 2011, he pleaded guilty in federal court to being a felon in possession of a firearm and conspiracy to obstruct justice. He was arrested along with New Orleans rapper Christopher B.G. Dorsey and Demount Pollard during a traffic stop in a stolen car with guns. Feddesen convinced Pollard to claim possession of the guns, the act that led to the obstruction charge. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, of which he ordinarily would serve 85%, or 17 years. But Feddesen's plea agreement left open the possibility that prosecutors would go to bat for him should he provide substantial assistance against other criminal defendants. In 2016, Feddesen testified for the government at the blockbuster federal trial of notorious Central City gangster Telly Hankton, hitman Walter Porter and 2 Hankton cousins. Feddesen's testimony, though not central to the Hankton prosecution, may have helped win guilty verdicts and life sentences for Porter, Hankton and other defendants in the case. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons said Wednesday they have no information on when Feddesen was released from custody. Jason Williams, Feddesen's attorney in the federal case, declined to comment Wednesday on the terms of Feddesen's release. Feddesen was being held Wednesday evening at the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center in Gretna on a $1.12 million bond on the charges related to the shooting. But he was being held without bond on a fugitive hold from federal authorities. I hope you enjoyed the content provided. Thanks for watching. Now make sure to like and subscribe to 318 Louisiana Legend YouTube channel. Welcome home B. G. We're glad you're free. You're the heart of the streets.